What's going on, guys? I'm here with Rob DeMello. He is a sports director at KHON. And this is his third time winning, which is extremely impressive in itself. And he's a sportscaster out of Hawaii. So, Rob, what was your career path like on your way to where you are now? Clearly, a very successful journey thus far. But did you always know you wanted to do this? Did you always know you wanted to be in the sports media industry? What was that path like for you?
Yeah, it's actually really crazy. At the age of 6 years old, I told my teachers and my family that I wanted to be a sportscaster. I loved sports. I was very hyper as a kid, what the kids would call turnt now,
Turn,
right
yeah,
now, where
turn.
I was just always energetic and running around, and I loved sports and I loved writing, and so somehow it just got stuck in my head that that's what I wanted to do, and so when I would watch the news at home with my family, I'd always gravitate towards the sportscast and just really watch it, and not just like as a kid where it's background noise, or I would really watch the sportscast, and it was just always a part of my life. And I think part of it too is that when you start getting older and people start asking you, what do you want to do when you get older? And you say, oh, I want to be a sportscaster. That's not usually something, a kid says. So
Right.
I always got like a reaction. And so maybe that added to, okay, this is really cool. And it almost just became part of my identity growing up of, that's what I want to do. And I was really fortunate. I was in high school, 15 years old, wasn't the best student. And just by luck, I had happened to meet Neil Everett, who's currently at ESPN doing the Sports Center LA.
Yeah.
He was a local sportscaster here in Hawaii for the CBS
Oh,
affiliate. And just by luck, we were connected to, being introduced to each other. And he let me shadow him one day. It was just supposed to be a one-day thing where this kid that wants to be a sportscaster, and we kind of hit it off. I had a great time, and we had a conversation during that meeting that I told him that I wasn't doing too great in school. I don't know if I'd be going to college, so I have this big dream of being a sportscaster, but I don't know if it will ever happen. And God bless him, he told me that if I improve my grades, then I could come back and I can continue to shadow him, and I can
wow.
do this, makeshift internship with him. And that's exactly what I did. I mean, that was like the motivation that I needed. And so my grades improved. He continued to check on them. And so I was 15 years old. I was a sophomore in high school. And I went to the station at that CBS affiliate every week until I graduated from high school. And I got a scholarship to attend Hawaii Pacific University here in Honolulu. And in my third semester in college, I got offered a job at the ABC affiliate just based on having met all these people over the last 4.5 years, right? If I didn't even apply for the job, it came up, and the person that was doing the hiring said, "Hey, I've seen you work, behind the scenes and attend all these events and cover for that CBS affiliate." And so they offered me the job, and the rest is history. I started when I was 19. I started anchoring when I was 20,
Wow.
and now I'm 38. So I've been doing this a really
Right.
long time, and just super grateful to Neil, obviously, and the guy's like a second father to me. My youngest son, his middle name is Everett after
Wow.
Neil, and so he's like a Hanai grandfather to them. A Hanai is kind of like a family friend here in Hawaii, the term. And yeah, and he's still a big part of my life, and I owe a lot to him, and I'm just super happy and proud to be able to do what I always wanted to do.
That's incredible to hear. It must have been awesome to have such a incredible and successful like mentor like that to kind of model your game after and learn from. That's awesome. So, Rob, what would you consider to be your favorite part of your job right now? What do you enjoy the most?
Yeah, my favorite part of the job is just where I'm doing it. I'm born and raised in Hawaii. I'm super passionate about Hawaii sports. More, it's one of those things that I love sports, but it's my passion for Hawaii sports that really just outweighs everything. When I have free time, admittedly, I don't watch national sports to a degree of being obsessed with it. That's my family time, and so it's kind of everything I do centers around the Hawaii sports universe. And so whether that's the University of Hawaii, high school sports here, or a big thing is the Hawaii-born athletes that are performing on a national stage, and so we cover them very, very closely. Whether it's Tua Tagovailoa, Marcus Mariota, Colton Wong, Max Holloway, those are guys that almost replace not having a pro franchise here in Hawaii. And so that's my favorite part of the job, is just immersing myself in Hawaii sports and being able to kind of be that middleman between the fans and even the non-sports fans. I mean, just the everyday people here in Hawaii, because the way I've always felt is that if you're covering sports to 100% based on your community and making it about where you are, then it's no longer a sports story. It's a human interest story. It's a current event story where you are. And so that's my favorite part about the job.
Right. And I'm sure that means a ton to those athletes as well. I mean, just being able to have such a dedicated and capable media team in Hawaii to support those athletes and cover them and push them and kind of give them that spotlight. That's awesome. So the answer to this could be tangible or intangible, but what do you consider to be the greatest highlight of your career thus far?
Wow. I think it would have to be covering the 2014 Heisman Trophy ceremony that Marcus Mariota won, because like I just mentioned, I mean, that transcended sports. That was, I mean, you can make an argument that was one of the biggest stories in Hawaii history, because you have a born and raised Polynesian kid that wasn't a huge prospect coming out of high school, that played 1 year of varsity football. In regards to being a starter. He was behind other players, and then he had one chance. He ended up winning a state championship, going to Oregon. And even when he went off to Oregon, there was a lot of, I wonder if we're ever going to see him play, because Oregon was coming off of a national title appearance at that time. And, that pipeline of just 5 stars just flying into Oregon was very strong. And I want to say Marcus was maybe a 3-star prospect at the time. And so to follow his journey and then to reach the ultimate, I don't know if there's a more prestigious award, individual award in sports, of just what it means. And I mean, when you think of an individual honor, the Heisman Trophy, I mean, just the visual of the Heisman Trophy is so special. And so being able to attend that and cover it and provide stories for the people back home that were so excited, and for him to give such a passionate and heartfelt speech, speaking to the people of Hawaii and to the next generation of Polynesian athletes, that's something I'll never forget. And I've been lucky to cover a lot of cool events, and again, going to the Heisman again with Tua Tagovailoa and Max Holloway title fights and national championship games and so many fun things. But that Marcus Mariota moment of winning the Heisman Trophy, that takes the cake for sure.
That sounds like an incredible experience, and also just being able to see all the other incredible athletes out there as well. And that sounds like an incredible experience. So what is the best piece of advice you can give someone like myself, maybe a little younger, because I'm 21, so maybe college graduates, maybe guys earlier in college, or people that may already be in the sports media industry who maybe need a push or some help? What's the best piece of advice you could give someone like that?
Yeah, a few things. One is, to outwork yourself, right? If you think that this is as hard as you can work, try to beat that. Try to, compete with yourself more than anything, because I think a lot of times in this business, because whether you're working for a newspaper or a television station, you have competitors, right? You have other stations that are covering the same things as you. So you're trying to provide the best coverage. And so the way I've always felt is, hey, if people are watching you, they're not watching the competition. I mean, not everyone lives in a newsroom like we do, where you have all the television sets lined up on the wall and you can watch everyone at once. Most people aren't able to do that. And so if they're watching you, that means they made that decision that, okay, I want to get my coverage from this person. So, just try to be your best for that person who decided that they would watch you, and don't think about what other people are doing. Just compete with yourself and try to outwork yourself. I think that's a really important aspect. The other thing is, you can't do it alone. You need a strong team around you. And I'm fortunate that I have a weekend sports anchor, Alan Hoshida, who works really hard. I worked with people before Alan got here, Sam Spangler and Ren Clayton, Christian Shimabuku and our digital team. And we all work together. I mean, we cover sports and we cover these teams, and we make these analysis of how these teams function and is this team doing the right thing? I mean, so you need to almost do the same thing, right? Of if you can't succeed unless you have a team around you that allows you to succeed and you allow them to succeed. And don't be afraid to ask for help. You know, if you want to learn something, or you want to be kind of guided in a certain way, you know, don't be nervous, don't be intimidated or embarrassed to ask for help. And in turn, if you see someone that needs help, extend that hand, because I mean, like I said, we can't do this alone, and we're all going to help each other get better.
Wow, great advice there from Rob. Definitely something everyone who's thinking about getting into the industry to keep in mind. And I thought the first point you made was very unique about not comparing yourself to others, because I heard a quote recently that said comparison is the thief of joy. And it's like, if you're going to constantly compare yourself to other people, you know, it's gonna you're not gonna be able to properly measure yourself, and you're never gonna be satisfied. You're not gonna be able to focus on what you're doing. But as a multiple time winner, have you been to the award ceremony?
I have not, you know, and it's far. It's far from Hawaii. I believe it's in South Carolina, right?
Yeah.
And so the first couple of times I thought about it, and I, you know, talked to my wife about, hey, maybe we'll make that trip, because I don't know if we'll ever go to South Carolina. And it just didn't work out timing wise in, you know, with work. And, you know, and to be honest, is that as, you know, the years go on, and you don't know how many more opportunities you're going to have to do something like this. And so this year probably would have been a year that I'd say, hey, yeah, let's really do this. But, you know, right now the travel restrictions in Hawaii with COVID-19 are pretty strong. And, you know, it would be quite a risk coming back, you know, if you don't get the testing in time, and then you have to quarantine and all that. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it, but I fingers crossed, hopefully get another opportunity one of these years and make that trip, because yeah, like I said, I love traveling. I want to see as many places as possible, and this might be my only chance to go to South Carolina.
Yeah, that would be awesome. But Rob, those are all the questions I have for you. If you want to, you know, thank anyone or say anything before we head off, you can go ahead and do that now.
No, I want to thank Dave and everyone at NSMA for putting this together, and you know, watching the award ceremonies and watching how the announcements are made and watching everything they do year round, with even the seminars and opportunities that are especially given to younger aspiring sportscasters to learn. It's awesome. It's top notch, and I think I speak on behalf of everyone that we really appreciate all the work that everyone does at the NSMA, and I'm super honored to win this award, and thank you for reaching out. I really had a good time talking to you.
Of course, no problem, Rob. Thank you again, and congratulations on winning this award.
Thank you.